Thank you very much for the kind introduction. It's very nice to be here. She said that you have to be out of your comfort zone, and this is being out of my comfort zone, because as she said, we've been so used to being, when we're talking about technology, and when we're talking about all these hi-fi things that's related to STEM, we're so used to being around men, right? So being around women is being outside the box, and it's so nice to be around these brilliant women. Another thing I noticed today is when we have girls meetup, we don't see men in this meetup. It's so nice to see men here. And I was also thinking, remember when we were in that group of men, and we're so like, oh, I'm the only woman here, or we're so few, and we're just men talking about men talks, and we feel excluded. I think in this kind of group, men can empathize on women, how they feel when you're surrounded by women talking about technology, but you feel excluded, right? So it's not about men or women, it's about being inclusive and knowing that being a man or woman doesn't make you any different in how you can perform in the field of STEM, right? So with that, I will start my, not a talk, but my reflection journey I was thinking about what I wanted to talk about, and I actually want to talk about me, and my journey of trying to become me, rather than what others say I should be, right? So I will start with this problem. If you already know about this problem, please don't tell the answer, but I want you to think about it. This is a very famous candle problem. You're given a candle, a matchbox here, a matchbox, and box of thumbpins, right? Your task is to fix and light a candle on a wall. Let's say it's a board, where you can put the thumbtacks on a wall in such a way that the candle wax won't drip onto the table. I just want one person, or two people, let's say, to tell me how you would do it. It's okay. You don't have to be right. Just try it. Anyone? But if you know about this through a class or something, please don't. Anyone? No? Yes? Yes?
I would empty the box that way.
Okay, clearly you guys are brilliant. I know you're going towards the right direction. So before going into the answer, I will say what's the most famous answer. The most famous answer is, lighting this candle and then burning it here so that it melts, and then putting it on the wall. Most of the people say that. Only few brilliant people can think outside the box and say that you empty the box, and then you tack the box on the wall, and then you light the candle and put on top of the box, right? The point here is it's a very famous experiment done to MBA students, and what you saw is if you're given a problem like this, like how I gave, a lot of the answer would be that famous answer. But if you give a problem by putting the tacks outside the box already, right, the visual cue will give you, it's easier to come up with the right answer, which is tacking the box, right? And so that's one visual cue that's telling you you can do it much faster, 14 minutes faster to be precise on average, if you're given the tacks inside the box versus outside the box, right? And another is verbal cues. Verbal cues meaning if you're told this thing, you're given a candle, you're given a matchbox, you're given a box, and you're given a thumbtack, right? So you're separating box of thumbtacks by saying box and thumbtack. Then you answer the question much faster, give the right answer much faster. What I'm trying to go from here, where I'm trying to go from here is get outside of that box. Not just thinking outside of that box, get outside of that box. When we grow up, when we define ourselves, who we are, who we want to be, we think of all those verbal cues, all those visual cues that surrounds us. And that's how we define ourselves. So it's so important to look at yourself and get outside of that box, right? So whatever you're passionate about, you can do it. As long as you work hard for it. No, dreaming is not enough, right? So you have to do it. I'll attach my story, a short story, with it. What if you're passionate about seemingly very different things? When I was in grad school, and when I was small, I always wanted to run. I didn't know why. And I used to participate in meets, sports meet, but I was not that fast. I never practiced or anything, go to the meet and just run, and sometimes become second, sometimes become third, so like that. But I knew I always wanted to run. When I was in grad school doing my Ph.D, it was already loaded with work. I wanted to participate in a marathon, right? So I did participate in marathons, and I was fast enough, but not too fast. Then I said, I actually want to win one of the marathons and want to decrease my time by ridiculous 2 hours, right? Because I was very slow in the first one. And people said, how are you going to do that? You're so busy already. You're not going to win a marathon. I'm like, why not? If I work hard, I will. So what I did was running. I took it as a therapy because it was so stressful in grad school. More stress, I would run more, right? So that sort of I interconnected so that I could use my energy as a synergy, right? Two seemingly different things come together synergistically to move you ahead. And I did win one of the marathons that I never thought I would, right? So, and that lists me in top 3 fastest marathon runners in Nepal. Right? So it is possible, and I'm continuing in that journey. But after baby and all, I've slowed down. So I'm trying to come back with my running again. But the point is, get out of that box and don't let others define you. Get onto that passion or thing that you wanted to always do, but you're like, I'm not that fast, or I don't have time, or I don't have money. Do it. Another. What is superhuman? When we grow up, we talk about Hanuman, Ram in Nepal, and we talk about Popeye, right? And we talk about all these people. What is superhuman? What is a Superman? Anyone? What does Superman do?
He's got superpowers.
He's got superpowers and helps others, can do everything, is never exhausted, right? And can solve any kind of problem, right? And we want to be that in one way or another. But the point is, becoming a superhuman is a myth. A lot of women, especially, are bombarded with this. You can do it all. Baby, home, everything. You probably could, but do you have to? No. So becoming a superhuman is not necessary, or it is a myth. You can't do it all. You need help. You need support when you're doing it. And when you take support, you can do much bigger things than what you're doing alone, right? So call it teamwork or whatever, but basically, being a superwoman for me is not doing it all, but actually creating an enabling environment where you can bring people from different walks of life with different strengths and using their strengths, leveraging their strengths while you give your 100% to move forward towards a shared goal, right? So I'll give you another example when I was in grad school again. We had this project that, I had a project that was very unrealistic in some way, and I had to finish it. And it needed computation, right? It needed a lot of other theoretical work. It needed going into the lab and doing chemical experiments, and going into the lab doing organic experiments and inorganic, so related to metals and non-metals. My specialty was organic chemistry. I knew a little bit of other things too. One approach, learn it all alone and do it all alone. Another approach is collaborate with people who have expertise in it already and learn from them and divide work and share the ownership. So sharing the ownership in graduate school is if you have a paper out, you share co-authorship. So that's one of the ways I could expedite my learning process and graduate with a Ph.D. when I was 26, right? While running and taking MBA classes and all of that. And so that I didn't do alone. I did it with support of people, and as I'm married and I have a child, it also means I need support from home too. My in-laws, my mother, my sister-in-laws, and all of that. So without that support, it's impossible. It is possible, but don't get burned out. Why, right? So when you share that experience, you bring everyone together as well. Another. What is this? I love this. I'm sure you've done this a lot, right? You've given this a lot to others, right? You've given Bal to many things as you grow up. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here, I'm sure, right? It's also, I don't give a damn, right? Yeah. To be very subtle, right? But it happens a lot of times. You get angry and then you feel like smashing something at times, and there are times like that. But actually, you don't have to be so rebellious and so angry. You have to learn to, it's also letting go. Don't take it in so personal. Means don't carry the mountain, climb it. That gives you a lot of energy, anger. Use that energy into something more transformative that transforms you and people around you. One example, when I was in semiconductor industry, very, very cutthroat industry, many of you know that, right? Very strict deadline, and especially if you're working with big fish, then the deadline is stricter and you want to get that business in. There was this one project related to one of the big fish. The computer belongs to that big fish. So that project was given to me. I was a junior scientist at that time. It's like, why would you give this project to me that is not related to what I'm doing right now? And I talked to the CTO of the company at that point. Because I'm like, why would you give this to me when they're experts and who are doing this thing? And he told me, this project is unique because the people I talked to who should be taking this project said, this is very, very unrealistic and it cannot be achieved because the target is too unrealistic, and with that comes unrealistic deadline. Do you want to kill me, right? So with that, they thought, since I was so aggressive in terms of doing research and running and winning and all of that, he thought he wanted to do an experiment with me. Because I had asked him to be my mentor. So as a present from a mentor, he gave me that project. So now I went to the experts and talked about, why do you think this is unrealistic? And they said, most of them basically were trying to say, this research, this sort of research has been done so much, it hasn't exhausted. If it was possible, then it would have been done already. Not because of specific logical reason there, but logic in the sense, if it was possible, it would have been done already. Since it is not done yet, in the last 2 decades, it's not possible, right? I mean, not good enough reason for me. So I basically said, okay, I'll take this project. And I got it done on time, above the target. Why was it possible? It was possible because I went with an open mind. I did not take it personally. When people were mocking me saying, oh, you're the one who took that project, good luck, junior scientist, right? So no, you don't take it personally. They had a point there. I went to those people who were skeptical but had a lot of expertise in the field, talked to them, learned from them, walked with them, ran with them to learn as much as possible, as fast as possible. And with that, I was able to finish the project not alone. I had other research assistants too who helped me in the process. And with that, I also got a US patent. Why not, right? So basically, don't carry the mountain, climb it. Don't take it too personal, let it go, and then whatever people are trying to say, listen to them. They have a point. Don't take the negative point, take the positive point, and negative point, ask them why, and after one point why, it doesn't make sense anymore, and then move on, right? So, another is failure. It's very similar to what Priyanka Chopra was saying, but I was not trying to copy her. She was asking who loves failure, who loves to fail. And she was saying, I don't like to fail. I don't like to fail either. I hate to be called a failure, right? But it's important to fail. You all know that. Fail, but fail very often, very fast, and to move forward, right? So fail forward towards success, towards learning. So with this, what I wanted to say is, we've learned so much, we've accumulated so much, we've been in the box so much that we have layers over layers over layers on us, right? So we need to unlearn certain things, which is harder than learning. We need to unlearn so that we can learn the real us, devoid of all the roles that are given to us, and devoid of all the societal norms that are put on us, right? So unlearn the real you. Unlearn to learn the real you. Where I am going with this is, so as I said, fail forward fast. As engineers and scientists, we love experiments. We love to build prototypes. We love to display our prototypes. And if it fails, it hurts, but it's not end of the life. We go into the improvement, right? So that's the whole point of building a prototype, trying it, and then going back to building another prototype. If we're so good at it, why can't we apply it in our life too? We don't. Mostly we don't. When we fail, or even before we fail, we don't even try it a lot of times, right? So if you can do it in your career, you should try to do it in your life too. Fail forward fast. And unlearn so that you know what matters to you. How do you know what matters to you? One of the things I have tried recently, and I actually have tried in the past also when I was very young, is I look at myself from the future and look at what I want to become, who I want to become. And to be more concrete, what I've started doing is, let's say right now it's 2018 start, I go to 2019 start, look back and say, what does the best year of my life look like? I write it down. I become so emotional. I vividly look at all the details, what I want to do and what is important in family and what my relationship with my mother looks like, my husband looks like, my friends look like, what does my relationship with my boss look like, what have I achieved and all of that. I write it down. I try to be realistic but not too realistic. Because if you're trying to be realistic, then you're thinking, you're still in that box. Don't be too realistic, right? So, but be real. Be real, but don't be too realistic. So with that, I try to achieve those goals over time. And what I can confirm is you may not get all of that, but you'll get to where, instead of being stuck in a complaining mode and saying, I don't have this and I don't have that, and then spending time on things that are not important, it helps you prioritize in life, and you actually get to where, further than where you have gotten without doing this sort of exercise. And looking back at my diary when I was little, I look at some of those things, and I have become some of those things. A lot of things I have become, I haven't written. And a lot of things I have written, I haven't become. But I have become some of those important things that I have written in my diary. So I would say you don't have to necessarily do it the same way, but this is what worked for me. So with that, I am looking forward to learn from you as well. I am not necessarily here to inspire. But I was here to share about my journey. I'm sure you all have those inspiring journey that first you have to know what it is for you, then listen to others and see what worked for others and it might work for you or not. With that, I would like to thank you all and to go into the details of why I came back to Nepal, what I'm doing right now. We can talk after this session as well, so I'll be around to talk to you and get inspired from you as well. I give a lot of power back to you and thank you very much.